world? Welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we do always start the show by being transparent. And yesterday, I had one play and it was a winner. I said that I would tweet out whether I chose between the total and the side, and I chose the side. I chose the Buffalo Bills. So, one in a day for me yesterday. NFL, I think slightly over 4 units. Try to keep it going. Veno, it's been a little while since we've spoken. Um, how's everything been in the past couple of days for you?
It's been all right, Skee, despite the fact that I complained through text message to you last night about having Tua and Miami. I did have my best bet yesterday was in the college ranks. Texas State, Arizona State over the 58. They got the 56 with like 14 minutes left in the game. So you knew somebody had to kick a field goal to win. It was a pretty easy winner. We'll take a day where the top play wins and the secondary play does not get there. But yeah, bad choice on my part. I'm glad you took the right side of that because I'm not a happy guy last night watching that performance.
I have a feeling if we would have talked yesterday, I probably could have talked you off of that.
You can do it now.
Because I mean, I've just not been a fan of that quarterback over there on the other side. So, you know how it gets when I'm not a fan. I'll let him have it.
He deserves to have it for his play, not because of the injury. Believe me, let's not get it. Act like we're happy that the guy's out. But it was a crazy. It was a crazy idea, I think, on his part, knowing how many concussions he has to run in there and lower his shoulder like that. And it was interesting that it was Hamlin, the guy who almost died on the field that made the tackle there. But if you're Tua, you have to be more careful. I refer way more to his errant passes than anything else. And, it cost him. It's cost him 2 weeks in a row.
Let's get to some WNBA. We have a packed slate, and we also want to talk some college football and some NFL. So let's get to it. This first game up, I think, is the one I'm most interested in. It is Washington and Atlanta. It opened up Dream -1. Dreamer now a 4.5-point favorite. The total has dropped 3.5 points to 155. And looking at the injury report, Austin is out for the Mystics, and then Aerial Powers out for the Dream. This one is important, Rob, because like I mentioned, I think the other day when we were on, Washington is not out of the playoffs yet. They can still make it. And I want to say they're tied with Atlanta right now. So whoever wins this game takes one step closer to taking Chicago's spot. And Chicago is a double-digit dog today. So this is a huge game. And it's tough that they're missing Shakira Austin, but I'll say this. If there's one thing, and I've already said it and didn't do it last time, so I'm doing it today. Should have been doing it every single day for the past 3 years that I've been saying it. Mystics first half. And I'm gonna let me pull up Ron's thing here before I kick it to you, because this is what I have the most to say on here, Rob. And then you can have at it. There we go. You can see this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So all season long, let's just go there. We know how the Mystics do in the first half. I mean, they've been good full game too, but first half, they've been great, especially on the road. On the road, look at this. 15-3-1 ATS in the first half. Dream, they've been poor in the first half, especially at home. Combined, what is this? 3-14-1. So it's completely the opposite. I know this is a big game, but if anything, I'll just continue to trust the Mystics to play good early. And it could be a tie game, and we're happy because the first half is +2. I believe that's the best number we're getting. So, Veno, does that make sense to you? Is that how you see the game, or how do you want to approach this one?
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody in their right mind that say it doesn't make sense, Skee. I mean, one side is 15-3 to the number, and the other side's 3-14 to the number. It makes perfect sense. We talk an awful lot and throw the terminology around in this business, knee-jerk or mechanical, just wake up and play it. And this is one of those things where you really don't put too much thought. And I'm not a big technical trend guy, But this one, it's during this season. It's huge numbers. So you have to take it seriously. So I would say that Washington first half, and again, without Shakira Austin, it's a different team offensively, right? They threw up 89 the other night against Chicago because they just play differently without her. So I could see first half, no problem. Game-wise, I think the people that attacked the number at 1.5 right off the bat probably got a good price. Atlanta at home to win by a field goal when it's all said and done. I could definitely be with that too. This is a playoff type atmosphere, like you said, 12 wins each, both chasing down Chicago, and the game now up to 4.5 it's too expensive to play Atlanta at this point in time. So I would think that you probably stick to first half. Totals come down 3.5 points because it figures to be a little bit tighter. There's so much on the line between these two, and Atlanta is, I think if they're not the slowest tempo team, Skee, they're one of the 3 slowest tempo teams in the league. So they don't like to get up and down very much.
Yeah, I can see this one definitely being like a playoff type environment game, So I told you guys how I'm gonna approach it. Rob gave you his advice, and we'll move it on over. I was interested in this next game, but we'll see how we talk it out. Chicago and the Lynx opened up Lynx -11. They're now a 13-point favorite, and the total dropped a point to 156.5. Injury report. We already know it's no Angel Reese, but also no Diamond DeShields for the Chicago Sky, and nobody on the injury report for the Lynx. Rob, Chicago's looked pretty bad lately. I've seen, in the past probably 2-3 weeks, I've seen the ladies on the bench crying. I've seen them frustrated in the interviews. I've seen them clapping back on Twitter. And most recently, it was Kennedy Carter talking on Twitter, pretty much saying that, like, don't count them out. They're not done. They just got to try to, get another win right here. And I think they'll play hard. It's playing hard enough to stay within the margin against a really good Lynx team.
Well, it's a big margin, right? There's a lot of room for error here at 12 points. But we do know that Minnesota is still involved. Now, the one thing I didn't check before I came on, Skee, and maybe somebody in the comments can help us out here, or I'm actually trying to look right now.
And my bad. Why you look right at that right quick? I forgot. Yeah. Shout out to my guy Josh with the $9.99 dono. Says happy Friday, y'all. Hit the like button. Stand on business, Skee. Love you, brother. Yeah, man. And he's saying that because we're texting yesterday, and it was some things that I didn't like before I bet the Bills that were trying to take me off of it. And he's like, "Nah, Skee, you've been talking shit. Stand on business." And I was like, "You're right. You're right."
And it's a good day to say that because it's Stand Up Friday around these parts. So we're going to stand up here. And I just did look, Skee. I was the question I was going to have real quick was who owns a tiebreaker between Minnesota and Connecticut. Minnesota's been beaten by Connecticut twice this year, so Connecticut owns a tiebreaker, which means Minnesota has to continue to win. They can't land in a standings tie with Connecticut and still hold that number 2 spot. So for Minnesota, it's important as well. Question here becomes, is 12 too much? Is 12 enough for the Sky? I just don't have any faith in the Chicago Sky offensively. 58 the other night against the Mystics.
Yeah.
It got a little terrible. Angel Reese was trying to talk Kennedy Carter off the cliff on the bench. Carter obviously frustrated and you can feel the frustration because she really doesn't have a lot of offensive help around her, right? There's just not a lot of options on this team anymore, where Minnesota is the best 3-point shooting team in the league. Their field goal percentage is huge. They're so efficient on the offensive side. It's hard to get behind Chicago just based on effort, need, and desire to have this game alone, when Minnesota kind of has that same desire and need. That being said, it doesn't mean you have to win by more than 12. For Minnesota, it could be a get in and get out type of game. Just get the W and leave. But we know Minnesota wins by margin an awful lot this season. So for me, it was a pass. I don't like the way Chicago's going defensively either. Again, they gave up 89 to the Mystics the other night. Minnesota can chew up bad defensive teams. So I don't know. I'm torn on this one, and I don't think I'll play.
Fair enough. I think you talked me off too. I was just thinking they could, bring enough effort to keep them within the double digits, but I don't really trust it. Next game over, we will go Storm and Wings. And this one opens Storm -6.5. They're now 11-point favorites. Total has it opened 168.5, and we're looking at 174.5. So I can understand the Wings did just play yesterday. I don't know. I mean, they kind of played yesterday. They got a spanking. I know that. And they have to come back here and play again tonight versus Storm team who still has a lot to play for. Um, I don't like playing against teams that have things to play for at this point. So I would only want to bet on the Storm. I can understand why the line went up. I can understand why the total went up because Dallas doesn't play any defense. How are you looking at this one, Vino?
Yeah, with the Wings, Skee, I look at overs all the time, and I found the last, I don't know, 3 weeks or so, if you don't bet Wings totals on the overnight number, you're going to wake up in the morning and lose a bunch of value. So I went in and played it last night. The number I got for myself, 71.5. And the number that by the time I wrote it up and shot it out to clients, it was 72.5. And this is overnight. They're still betting it. So we wake up today and you just gave the total here. But they shot poorly last night, only 67 against the Liberty. The Liberty's a really good defensive team. The Liberty's a team that had just seen Dallas 2 days before. So I think the 67 is understandable. Dallas goes 4 of 18 from 3, not good. I'd expect all those offensive numbers to come up here tonight for them. However, Seattle's going to look at this defense. This defense just makes everybody great. The Liberty got 99. It was the easiest 99 I've seen. But it works that way against Dallas every night. Dallas has 0 to play for anymore. They refuse to get out of this 94-foot fast as we can go style of basketball, which is great if you're playing overs because Seattle's the number 4 pace team in the league. So they're going to go. And we just talked about Chicago maybe having a little dissension, even though they want to play hard and make the playoffs. You could see a little bit of crying, arguing, like you were saying. Skylar Diggins-Smith is not having it with Seattle. Like every game, she's talking this team up and trying to push them almost single-handedly. She's got a lot of help around her, but again, she's the leader. When they're in a huddle, you can see they all look at her. When they take the floor, they all look at her. I think they're going to score big here tonight, Skee. I'll leave you with this. These teams have played 3 times this season.
I'm looking at it right now.
176, 173, and 166. Dallas didn't have Sabali in any of those games, and they still got to those numbers without her. She's averaging almost 18 a game since she's come back. So, it looks like a track meet. And Dallas in 7 of their last 9 has scored 86 plus. So I think the teams like Seattle, when they know they can just outscore the other side, I get their good defensive numbers, but I just don't know that their defensive numbers in a game like this come into complete play. I think Dallas gets theirs. Seattle definitely gets theirs, and this thing gets over the number.
Their team total is 92.5. Seattle, 92, 97, 95, more than capable.
Mm-hmm.
What would you think about adding that as well, or you're just comfortable with the full game? You expect Dallas to do their part?
Yeah, I think Dallas will do
2
their
games
part.
you see here, or they needed. I don't know. They need some help.
I think that they probably get to 79-80 here tonight. Minimum Dallas does. I always like bounce backs. It was a horrible shooting night last night, but I do put a lot of that into New York's defense, and New York seen them twice in a row. So I'm comfortable full game. I wouldn't be against or mad at Seattle team total either. Again, like I say, last night's 99 by the Liberty looks so easy. In the Liberty, it's a great 3-point shooting team. That's probably the one advantage they have over Seattle is Seattle doesn't shoot the 3 all that great. But again, when these teams look at Dallas's defense, all of a sudden their shooting numbers go up pretty good.
I agree. So that would be on my short list there, the 92.5 for the Storm. I think they should be able to get whatever they want. Let's keep moving down the list. I know we're short on time. Next one up is Aces and Fever. This one opened up Aces -5. They're now a 4-point favorite, and total went up 2 points or 1.5 to 178. Don't see anybody on the injury report for either of these teams. They did recently just play. Aces got the W and they covered. Can they do it again here? Um, can they do it again here, Veno? Fever have been playing good.
And they just played the other night, like you said. Let me just mention, we've been talking about the playoff race. The playoff implications here are between Las Vegas and Seattle. Las Vegas is 1 game ahead of Seattle, and Seattle's bound to win tonight. So the Aces obviously feel that that team on their heels. We'd expect a good performance on them. Here's what stuck with me, Skee, and this total went up, and we talked an awful lot the other day. I think we're on for this matchup about the offense of the Fever, Caitlin wanting to go faster than what they have already been doing as far as tempo is concerned. And then you watch that game, and then you watch the post game with Becky Hammond, and she says, hey, Jackie Young defending Caitlin Clark slowed her down. 90. She said by the time the fourth quarter came, Caitlin had no legs left. So Las Vegas obviously has the personnel to slow Caitlin Clark down a little bit as far as going on a rampage. And the second time they see him in 3 days, I don't know why a repeat performance wouldn't be in order here. I think Jackie Young probably, you don't stop Clark completely, but you can limit her in a lot of what she does. She was 1 for 10 from the field, I think, the other night, or 1 for 10 from 3, one or the other. It wasn't good. So I understand the immediate rush to over, and I'm usually that guy, immediate rush to over. But to me, in a game where both sides still playing for playoff purposes, it probably gets a little more defensive. And Las Vegas showed the other night they have the ability to slow Indiana down. I think 177.5, might be too high of a number. And maybe it does stay under in this case. You're talking about needing 89 aside for these teams. It's a lot of points in a game where defense and the head coach of the Aces pointed out our defense on their star works.
Yeah, that's a good point. And last time they played, it landed, I think, 161. So looking at 178, I can understand how you get to an under. If you can keep Caitlin Clark in check, that goes a long way towards that under. So not a bad look there. Last up, Sun and Mercury. Sun open -5.5. They're now a 9-point favorite. Total open 160.5, down to 157. Injury report. So Rebecca Allen is out. Kalia Copper is game time decision. Tiffany Mitchell is out for Connecticut. I want to say if Connecticut wins, like they are guaranteed the 3 seed, I think. And I know you would definitely need Kalia Copper out there if you like the Phoenix side. Phoenix has been off for a while. I think they had 6 days off. You know how I feel, Rob. After 4 days, start to think you get a little bit of rustiness. I would try to look towards Connecticut some way, shape, or form. But seeing the number already skyrocket, it's tough. How are you looking at this one?
Yeah, for me, again, this is kind of an automatic fade, Skee. Phoenix is a train wreck. They're an absolute train wreck. And ever since they came back from the Olympic break, 2-7-1 against the spread, and the offense has gone straight downhill. Some of it due to the fact, honestly, that Kalia Copper has not been the first half Kalia Copper. She's been down offensively, statistically, and nobody else has come to support her. I think on the show last week or the week before, we talked about the absence of Rebecca Allen being a big deal. This 2-7-1 correlates directly to Rebecca Allen not being available for any game since the Olympic break. So they're short on weaponry. To me, they look like a team that's thrown in the towel. I don't think Phoenix has any desire to do anything right now. Maybe rest helps them here, but they just don't have the weaponry. You look at losing by 24 to Seattle, 13 to Washington. Wind up that night they beat Atlanta, the dream. I still don't understand that one. But then they lost by 18 to Las Vegas, 13 to Minnesota, 14 to New York. They're not beating anybody at this point, and they're not scoring points. The good thing about this team is they're supposed to be a good offensive team. They're not at this point in time. So I thought Diana Taurasi looked tired when they got back first couple of games from the Olympic break. It looks to me like this team just has I don't know. I don't care fatigue anymore. So I would still play Connecticut at -9. I think Connecticut's more than capable of winning by double digits. If Mabry gets hot, they've had some games here, and I know it's laying 9 with prison ball is not the way we want to go, right? But they've had their moments where they've reached 90 points when they all play well offensively together. And personnel-wise, they do have some weaponry at this point in time. But there's no way I'm playing Phoenix.
Yeah, yeah. Kalia news makes me not interested at all in Phoenix. I can understand why you guys want to look at the Sun in this one. That's the WNBA card. So let's try to squeeze in a couple of other things. We have an early morning game for tomorrow. Arkansas State and Michigan. Open 24 and a half. I mean, it was 23 when I did the banner. It continues to drop. I see it as low as 21 and a half. Why is the market not why is the market like Arkansas State as the big dog in this one? And do you agree?
Well, I'll say this. I disagree, but I think that the market saw what they saw the first 2 weeks out of Michigan's offense, right? It's not the same team that won the national championship last year. New coaching staff, new quarterback. J.J. McCarthy's in the NFL now. Obviously, lose a couple of key offensive linemen, wide receivers, so on and so forth. However, the one thing that this team's and plus Skee, it's going to be a look ahead game to Big Ten season opening up, right? So people play trap situations, sandwich games, situational stuff, and I can understand why you get to Arkansas State strictly from a non-field perspective. But when you look at the field, it's not even close. I mean, Texas had this same type of game a couple of weeks back against Western Kentucky, I think it was. Or was it Alabama against Western Kentucky? And they beat them 63-0. When these Sun Belt teams march in to these Power 4 conference type teams with great defenses, and Michigan still has 3 guys on that defense that are going to go first round NFL draft next year, including 2 on the defensive line. But for me, it all becomes about the trench play. Michigan's going to get after it. They have a nice quarterback, Arkansas State, Jalen Raynor, dual threat. But they're smallish. They're such a gadget play oriented team. They're not going to run the football on Michigan. They're not going to be able to do traditional things against Michigan. They're going to have to hit some, flea flicker type stuff, punt return type stuff. And I don't think they do it here against Michigan. Now, the argument against situational would be Michigan shows us nothing so far. This is a nothing game. Can't get up for it. But I would say this new head coach, Sharon Moore, the team loves him. They're the reason why he's there, taking Jim Harbaugh's place. And he can't afford to come out here in front of 110,000 at Ann Arbor and lay an egg. Let's say a 20-10 win. I think they'll be fired up. I disagree with this sandwich or letdown type thing. And they certainly have enough defense to win this game in the vicinity of 31-7. So I think the lower the number goes, the better it is for people like me. I like Michigan.
All right. So you just, maybe wait it out, see how low can you go, and then hop in there. I mean, 21 is, I don't do a whole lot of college, but that would be a key number, I assume. Probably 23 is too. So just try to see how low it can go and see if you guys can get in. There is an NFL game that we wanted to try to get in here. Let's get it in here. I think we have 10 more minutes here, Rob. So what do we do? We're doing all right. Browns and Jaguars. This one opened up Jaguars -2. They're now a 3-point favorite, and the total dropped 3 points from 44.5 to 41.5. I'll say this, Rob. I can be talked into an over because from my memory, Browns defense was night and day, home and road. So I think the Jaguars should be able to score. And the Browns do enough in this one. Is that how you're looking at this game?
I like the Jaguars side, so maybe we could parlay it up. The Browns offensive line, obviously, a good amount of injury, and Dallas showed it last week, right? I mean, Myles Garrett couldn't be kept off the quarterback. Deshaun Watson, for all the talk about how poorly he played, a lot of it was due to the fact that he had no time. And Jacksonville, if they have one good element about that defense, is they have pass rushers. And I expect them to get after him again. And I just don't know where Cleveland's offensive options are, Skee. especially if you're under siege all the time. It's not like they line up behind a really good offensive line like they have the past couple of years. Give it to Nick Chubb when he's been available and run the football. It's not a part of their offense at this point in time, and I don't think it'll be here. I'm going to agree with you 100% on the fact that I think Jacksonville can move the football. Now, maybe after watching last night, Miami's defense is garbage because Buffalo ran it right down their throat. And Jacksonville, some of my handicap here is predicated on the fact that Jacksonville moved the ball pretty well against Miami last week. And if not for ATN fumbling into the end zone, going in for a touchdown, they might win that game last week. So I think season home opener, only a field goal, catching Cleveland at the right time when Cleveland's not really in sync offensively. The fact that Jacksonville has a really good pass rush that can take advantage of Cleveland's weak offensive line. I think a lot of these elements add up. I agree with the line move. It went from 2 to 3. I think Jacksonville can win in the 6-7 area here. So I'm going to play Jacksonville minus 3 points.
Can't argue with that. I think that's a solid pick for sure. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I did see McKinnis came in here. Make sure you guys check out him. I did see him doing some shows with Trig. So check my guy McKinnis out. He does good work and appreciate you tapping in. Also, my guy Dream, he does great work too. And he bets a lot differently than I do. Like as far as he bets a lot of player props and he'll put together different parlays and he's good at doing it. And I've seen him cash out. So make sure you check my guy Dream out too. Rob, we don't have a whole lot of time, but I do want to ask you, I guess I'll ask you gun to head real quick questions, okay?
Yeah.
And we'll see which one we can maybe squeeze a couple minutes out of. Which side would you choose, Cincinnati or Kansas City?
I would choose Kansas City.
Okay. Seattle and New England.
That's a good question, but I'm a believer in Seattle. I played them on the futures market, so it's a tough trip. Road favorite. Gun to head Seattle.
All right. So we pretty much that's kind of the ways I'm looking too. So I don't want to talk too much if we both agree a lot. I wanted to try to see if we don't agree on something. But let's talk about this. Rams and Arizona.
Yeah.
48. I mean, Nakua, he's a really good receiver, but Stafford should still be able to move the ball in this Arizona defense. And the Rams, I mean, their defensive line looks like they can be pushed around. I don't know if it's just because the Lions were that good or they just suck, but they look like they could be pushed around. And the defense in general is just not a really good unit this season, in my opinion. So I think Arizona can score. They showed they can score against Buffalo. I think 48 is reachable. Do you?
I think it's reachable. The only concern I would have on the Rams' behalf is I still have to stay on that injury report because there's a possibility they missed 3 offensive linemen. 2 we know are out. Could be a third. I even saw earlier this week that they had 4 of the starters that were obviously 2 out, but the other 2 were not involved in practice on Tuesday. So the protection of Matt Stafford is crucial. But again, Arizona is not a team that rushes the passer like some of the elite teams in the league. But Jonathan Gannon, the head coach, is defensive coordinator by nature. I'm sure he could scheme something up. That's the only thing I worry about. Now, that being said, Matt Stafford did move the ball against the Lions with those. He had a couple of offensive linemen injured in that game, plus Nakua. Cooper Kupp was amazing. He's always going to be amazing. So I wouldn't put it past the Rams to do their part. But I think Kyler in Arizona can do their part for sure against that Rams defense, like you said.
We agree. We still have a couple of minutes.
All right. Let's do it.
New York and Tennessee. Which side of the fence are you on? Like the Jets are supposed to be really good. They lost, in embarrassing fashion last week, and now they come back as a real favorite, where they can maybe flex on a lesser than team. At the same time, Tennessee, they had that game won, and they just gave it away. They should come, to play hard in this game and play hard throughout. Which side do you find more appealing out of those two?
Well, it's a little difficult, Skee, because I think from a fundamental perspective, the guys on the field, I would say Jets. But the situationals here kind of make you think twice because the Jets are on the short work week. They played Monday night, travel to Tennessee, where Tennessee's in their season home opener. After just playing Caleb Williams, now they get Aaron Rodgers, but they also get a defense that was embarrassed by San Francisco. And we know this is a really good defense, right? So you expect them to come to play here against Will Levis. Now, do I trust Will Levis against the Jets defense? Absolutely not. But the Jets are laying 3.5 here, or even 4, which is above that field goal limit, which is tough in their position. It's tough to lay that on the road against a team in a charged environment, season home opener, and a team that did do some good offensive things in that game before, like you say, they gave it away. So you get torn, right? You get torn between the fundamentals, the play on the field, and the situational stuff. Jets short work week, Titans at home, first game out, that type of thing.
Interesting. I've gone back and forth, but I've come to one conclusion here. I'm not putting my money on Will Levis again.
Now. We can add him to the quarterback list, right? Lamar,
I'm not doing it.
Tua, Levis. It ain't happening.
Not happening.
We could like Lamar this week.
Yeah, I think he should be just fine this week. I think we gotta we kind of gotta wrap it up here. But appreciate you, Rob, taking the time to come and cap these games with me, like you always do. Let's see if I can do any of this correctly. What am I looking for here? Oh, okay. So for one, I do want to promo this just because I think it's really good. I used it a few times on the show. It's like Ronald Cabang's website. When you guys saw me looking up the stats and trends and the color code, etc., just to help you find all the data you need to find, quickly, efficiently, however you want to call it. The Money Baller is a good way to do it. And if you guys would like to try it out, there's a link in the description to the video, and you can use coupon code Skee to get you 50% off your first month. With Veno, we got to talk about this here. Let me get that banner off. This ends. I got a question in the chat just a couple minutes ago. The early bird deal ends on the 15th, and you can get the entire season. It looks like $200 off. It's less than $100 for each month of NBA. And I know we both done really good work in the NBA over the years. So I think it's the best deal you can get, the best way you can get in to get every single bet that we make. So ends 15th, which is Sunday. Veno, did I miss anything for you? Is there anything you would like to add? And if not, or when you're done, let us know a best bet for the show.
Yeah, real quick, Skee. I think that NBA, and I think I'm going to make time to make sure that we do a little bit of NBA preview. I'll get together with you on that because I know we both enjoy handicapping it. And man, you piqued my interest a little bit the other night about in-game stuff at night with the NBA. I think that as an in-game bettor, it just in front of the chat room and an audience, it would be a little bit of fun. So maybe I'll get involved with you a little bit there as well. But the deal, take advantage, guys, because I think, we both foresee a pretty strong season coming up. For best bet for tonight, I'll just go back to Seattle-Dallas, Skee. It's the game I bet the heaviest. It's the game I can recommend the most here. I think over, even at this price, 174, I think it gets there. Not going to argue anybody off that Seattle team total at the 92.5 spot, but I do like full game Dallas-Seattle over 174 as a best bet.
And I think that's a solid wager. My guy Jay Cash says for both. I don't think it's not for both. It was for one, but I'm pretty sure if you just email the Wagertalk support, they'll work something with you to get both of us. So however you would like to do it, it's a good way to take advantage. And Rob, I do agree with that best bet. My best bet for the show, I'll keep it simple. I got a spanking the other day because I was hard-headed and didn't listen. So I'm going with the Mystics first half +2. Big game for them versus the Dream. Both teams can still make the playoffs, and I think it'll be neck and neck, at least for the first 20 minutes. So Mystics first half will be my best bet. Once again, Rob, I appreciate you taking the time to do the show with me. Everybody in the chat, I appreciate you guys. A lot of great cappers and great people, and it's really why I enjoy doing this show too. So, best of luck if you tell, and good luck everybody on all your action. Make sure you guys come and tune in. We got 5-star up next. We have 2 college games and 1 NFL to get you guys paid.